Newcastle United are in a weird place right now, waiting to see if their takeover will be approved, which could make them one of, if not the richest club in world football. But 5 years ago, could anyone really see that happening? The Magpies were a mid-table side sitting close to the relegation zone, happily going about their way with no ambition. I'm James from Elecspo, and using our Football Manager 2015 simulation, yep, we're going retro, let's see what Newcastle looked like in the summer of 2020. Well, a takeover has happened, but it's not Amanda Staveley and the Saudis who've bought Mike Ashley out, it's a man called Craig Dutton, who has seemingly made the club rich, but not quite as rich as the Saudis would. And there's also been a trophy during his ownership, although it was actually just the championship title after Newcastle got relegated in 2018. But they came up at the first time of asking, winning the Liga Decanter. Now back in the top flight, Newcastle's first season went well, finishing 10th. But who masterminded their promotion and top half finish? It was Lee Johnson. He got the job in November 2018, replacing Hamza Hamzoglu in the dugout. Before him was Nigel Pearson, and before that was Mark Hughes, who replaced John Carver as caretaker boss at the start of the simulation. The Magpies ended the 1920 season with a 2-2 draw against Huddersfield, so let's have a look at who started and who else is in the squad. In goal was Tim Krul. The only Dutchman with a Geordie accent, Tim Krul is still Newcastle's number 1 in 2020 on FM, with no horrendous injury forcing him out of Newcastle and into the hands of Norwich City. Krul has been solid for Newcastle bar the relegation season, and maybe the season before that when 61 goals went past him. But in the last 2 seasons he's improved, and he's a leader at St James's Park where he acts as vice-captain. Right back was Daryl Janmaat, and this is the man who's actually captain. In reality, Daryl Janmaat bolted following relegation, but at FM he hung about, and he was rewarded with the captain's armband. Janmaat has been exceptional for Newcastle during the simulation, and everything you'd want from a fullback. He gets loads of assists, and his ratings are so good that defending clearly isn't an issue either. Centre back was Stefan Savic. The Magpies have got a big name at the heart of defence, but Stefan Savic seemingly isn't a big performer. The former Man City man's had an interesting career playing for PSG and Bayern Munich, but a £4.9 million move to Newcastle has been far from a success. His first win so far only season in black and white ended with a season average of 6.75, but I suppose it's better than anything he did in the Bundesliga. He was alongside Chris Smalling. It's another decent name at centre back for Newcastle, but Chris Smalling's been a Magpie for much longer. He joined the club in the summer of 2015 for £3.8 million from Man United, a bargain fee which probably tells you all you need to know. Smalling has never really impressed in a Newcastle shirt, yet he's played a lot of games in black and white. They've also got Tyler Blackett, another struggling ex-Man United player, while Jamal Lascelles moved on for a bargain £245,000 on account of not being very good on Football Manager 2015. Left back was Eugenio Mena. Newcastle have a veteran from Chile on the left of defence and a player that's been big to sign from Brazil. Eugenio Mena cost £10.75 million from Cruzeiro in 2016 and he's proven himself in England. But at 32 now, maybe it's time as Newcastle's main left back has come to an end. As it stands though, he's got no competition for his position. On the right wing was Mo Salah. Don't be fooled people, all is not what it seems. Yes, Newcastle have Mo Salah in 2020, but this is not the Mo Salah we all know and love. The Egyptian king hasn't developed into the world-class star he is in reality, instead he's just an average right winger who fits the bill for Newcastle. They signed him for just £4.7 million from Galatasaray, and his first season with them went incredibly well, scoring 4 goals and getting 6 assists, which is his best season in the simulation yet. So yes, Newcastle do have a big name on the right of midfield, but he's not quite the same player who's scoring 20 goals a season for Liverpool. Centre midfield was Moussa Sissoko. Nowadays Sissoko was a Spurs man, but he started this FM simulation at Newcastle, and that's where he still resides. Unlike in reality, Sissoko has been loyal to the Magpies and played a huge role in them winning the championship title in 2019. The Frenchman scored 16 goals and provided 14 assists, which are numbers you'd be happy for your striker to get, never mind your centre mid. Sissoko has been fantastic for Newcastle, with his only poor season being the relegation of 2018. Next up was Mehdi Abeid. This is a guy who didn't quite make the grade at Newcastle in reality, but FM has him developing into a proper first team player. Abeid has played a lot in the past 3 seasons and his performances have been mixed. He gets a decent amount of goals and assists, but then his averages are actually pretty sad to see. Maybe he just shoots every time he gets the ball, and 1 in 10 times it flies in the net. The Magpies also have Vernon Anita still, maybe suggesting that the new owners need to invest in a fresh centre midfielder. Left midfield was Remy Cabella. We've got another player who stayed with Newcastle during the simulation, and I'm really surprised at how poor Cabella's been. On my Newcastle career which you've been able to see on this channel, he's been excellent. But in the simulation, he's never got a season higher than a 7. Even in the Championship he was pretty poor, with his influence at Newcastle decreasing year after year. Clearly I'm just a better manager, who's capable of getting the best out of Remy Cabella. Yeah, that's what I'm going to take from this. Up top was Raul Jimenez. This is another player who I had in my Newcastle team, but this Raul Jimenez has done a lot better. He started the simulation off at Atletico Madrid, but was soon a Newcastle player, costing a bargain £3.9 million. And with the famous number 9 on his back, Jimenez quickly proved he was up to the task. He's been a machine in front of goal, scoring at least 20 goals every season in all competitions. In total he scored 128 goals for Newcastle so far, which actually makes him one of the club's highest ever scorers. He's still a long way behind Alan Shearer, but still. Newcastle also have Ayoze Perez who can play up top and is a key player, with the Spaniard also buying a plethora of goals up top alongside Jimenez. And finally we've got Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. However, on the final day of the season, Jimenez was playing alongside Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. The Gabonese striker is another massive name at Newcastle, and he scored in the final day draw away to Huddersfield. Sadly for Aubameyang though, he's living in the shadows of Jimenez and Perez. Aubameyang joined in 2017 at the beginning of the relegation season, costing £5.5 million from Real Madrid. And even in the Championship, Aubameyang failed to impress. Yes, Football Manager 2015 had bigger hopes for Ayoze Perez than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So that's Newcastle in 2020 according to our Football Manager 2015 simulation. Let us know what you think in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo, and until next time, we'll see you around.